All right, so we're finally going to take a look at this game right here. This is Sonic Colors Ultimate. I did get it for the Nintendo Switch. There's the box right over there, as you can see. I did do an unboxing, but we're going to finally dive into this, kind of see what the changes are, what this is all about, because there's some people that honestly don't know. So let's dive into this. Sonic Colors is not anything new. Sonic Colors is actually a game that released, I believe it was in 2010, and it was for the original Wii, Nintendo Wii. I always say the original Wii because, with the Wii U and stuff, it's just horrible names from Nintendo. But the Nintendo Wii, that's where Sonic Colors first dropped. And it was always exclusive onto that system. It was never on anything else. The only other time you could play it on anything else is if you had it via emulation, or if you wanted to take it a step further, you could play in Sonic Generations. I've done this a lot, and so if you guys have watched any of my videos, there's some on this channel that you can watch, kind of go back to from like years ago. They've been updated and stuff like that, but you can play Sonic Colors stages within Generations. So if you really wanted to take it that much further, yeah, you can do it that way too. It actually plays out very well. But like I said, we're talking about this right here. The glares in the, but yeah, we're talking about Sonic Colors Ultimate. The first time we have seen this game get ported onto anything else. It's also on PlayStation 4/5 and then Xbox One/Series X. So I just got it for the Switch because that was the only thing I had. Technically, I could have got it on PC, but it's only available on the Epic Game Store and it's not available on Steam. And that kind of sucks because I would have totally bought it for my PC if it was on Steam, because I just am not a fan of using Epic Game Store right now. Probably not ever. I had it once, didn't really like it. Let's just kind of get a little bit of the basics out of the way. Where the game, or as far as the story, anyways, within this game is, Sonic and Tails, they're riding up this elevator to the space amusement park that has a bunch of other planets, kind of latched to it or whatever. It's they're all connected with, like a long chain or something. And then basically it just throws you into the game. Like you just start the first level and you just go. This game really requires a lot of going back to the stages you've played, because as you unlock more of the Wisp abilities throughout this game, it requires you to go back. So that way you can get a lot of the red star rings, get better scores, times, all that stuff. But in terms of the gameplay is where it's at. Like they use the boost formula in this game, just like in Sonic Unleashed and in Sonic Generations, which really perfected the whole damn thing. So that game is perfect. That's why I really do like playing those stages in Generations. If you can do it, if you have the way, or if you have the game on your PC or your laptop or whatever the case, I would definitely recommend it. The one thing that this game did that not a lot of other games do really well. I mean, Unleashed and Generations had this type of thing too, where the camera shifts to this 2D view, and there's a lot of platforming in this game, more so than the other two games. And I think that's really good because they really went back to their roots with this game. They made it so that platforming, and that's kind of what made Sonic a known thing, right? Going back to the Genesis games, they were all a 2D based game in platforming, and then at certain points of the level, speed was your reward. You would just fly through some of those stages. It was really cool. So that was your reward, and it definitely rewards you with that here in this game. Now, like I said, it's always been locked onto the Wii, so it's really cool to see that they brought this back in a really cool way. Though the one thing I will say, that was kind of upsetting, there was like a day or two early release for the digital side of this game. And there were a lot of glitches. There were a lot of glitches. It was so crazy. I thought it was like, you see one or two and maybe they're just making shit up, but more and more kept popping up. And somebody sent me this article as well, saying that it was really affecting the game itself, more so with the Switch than anything else. And that was kind of interesting because could you imagine if they released this on the day it came out and it had all of those problems? So they did have some time to fix a little bit of it, but then like a couple days, like 2-3 days later, they put out another patch to really fix a lot of the major issues. Fortunately for me, I guess because of those updates that I got from the first day that I played it, because I picked this up the day it came out, physically anyways, because like I said, I did an unboxing. There it is right there. I did an unboxing of this. You can check that video out, but I didn't get around to playing it until like the next day. So yeah, there were updates, and it didn't, all those glitches that I had seen that people were putting through Twitter and all that, that didn't really affect me in any way. So I guess that's kind of a good thing. But just knowing that there were a lot of issues, a lot more issues than what I had heard originally from the start. There were audio glitches, there were video, like it was just crazy. The video or the audio stuff did affect me a little bit. I did as I was playing at certain points of the game, you wouldn't hear the music, or it would just be a little rocky or something. It was not balanced at all, and so now it's okay. But occasionally there's no music for like when you're using one of your Wisp abilities, or like when you get to the results screen, it's just kind of silent. But that doesn't really bother me too much. It's just kind of annoying. Now, all that aside, I do think that this is a game worth picking up, and I'm not just saying that because I am a Sonic fan. I mean, a lot of you know, if you guys have been watching this channel for a while, you would know that I am a Sonic fan. I consider myself to be a pretty big Sonic fan, maybe not to the same level of others, but I like Sonic games. Yes, there's a lot of shitty ones out there, but there's more than enough good ones. This is definitely a good one. I think it's $10 too high, in my opinion. I think $30 would have been a good price as opposed to the $40 price tag, but still, it's cool that we have this here. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the visual look of the game. Now, overall, it's a little bit brighter. It's very cleaned up, widescreen, all that good stuff. Better frame rates, even on the Switch, because you're not going to get those 60 frames per second, in this version anyways. 30 frames is still more than enough. Definitely a lot more than what the original game was back on the Nintendo Wii. So that's already a plus right there. And the fact that it's a wider screen, it's much more cleaned up. You see it in the cutscenes. It looks really good. So the character models themselves are very much improved. I mean, you look at Sonic's character model, and it's just really cool to see how much better it does look here as opposed to the original. Oh, wow. Looks really nice. But this is the start of the game, so, I don't know. Yeah, Sonic's model, his character model, looks really good. It really does. That's his character model is heavily improved from the original. It's a pretty standard, platforming game, speed your reward and all that stuff. They did a very good job with it. They also included these color wisp abilities. I didn't say that earlier, but that's the thing about this game, is that you have these different abilities that kind of help you out throughout all the stages, and it's really fun. Some of these abilities do things that Sonic can already do, but they just kind of present it in like a more interesting and more fun and just very creative way, in my opinion. The one thing that does bug me a little bit about this game, well, two things. I'll just get this out of the way. The boost meter that you fill up, it's not by collecting rings. Unlike the Unleashed game and Generations game, where you gather rings and your boost meter keeps going up and up because of it, because you're constantly using it and everything, it's not here in this game. You actually have to rely on, again, your Wisp abilities. That's part of it. So it's a little upsetting because it doesn't focus too heavily on like going as fast, shall we say, as like the other two games. But that's just something you have to be aware of. And two, some of the controls are a little funky. Like in certain parts of the other two games, again, when you have to like kind of shift from side to side, you usually tend to use the bumpers on the controller. Well, now you have to use the joystick from left to right. That's just how it is, whether you're doing that or whether you're on a like grinding on a rail or something, and then it's it becomes there's two other rails, so there's like three in total, and then you have to like hop from one to the other, because what of whatever obstacle. Uh, you just have to use the joystick. You don't use the bumper. So that's my only complaint about Sonic Colors in terms of the controls. And also, speaking of that, now that we're kind of diving into what the Colors version, or excuse me, the ultimate version of Colors is, I had to change or I had to remap two buttons specifically on my Switch. So, and I'm just gonna show you guys. So, I use the Pro Controller. Now, normally you got your jump, and then you have your boost, and then your stomp ability and all that. But these two buttons here were switched. So like the boost was here, and then the stomp was here. I'm not used to that. Mentally, I have it the other way around, and that's what I did. I changed it to what I am used to, via the other two games. So it was just weird how it was set up that way from the start. So that's just something you're gonna have to kind of correct. I mean, if you can do it like that, then by all means, hey, just you do you. But that, for me, it was really messing me up from the start, and I had to switch that around. So that was one questionable change, but at least you can change it on your own. So that's cool that they gave you that. Now, remember when I said that how you get your boost meter to fill up more is from the power of the Wisp abilities that you get, right? Or the ones specifically that build your boost meter. There's also another way to build up meter in this version. So when you do your homing attack, it's pretty simple, right? We all know when you jump and you're close to an enemy, Sonic locks onto the enemy and then homes in on the enemy, takes him out. Pretty simple. But there's a mechanic in this now where if you time it just right, what feels like he attacks faster, I think it's the same, but I don't know, it just feels like it is. I don't think it truly is. But the thing is that when you time it just right and you hit it, the homing attack on the enemy, you see a rainbow as opposed to it just being blue when you lock onto the enemy. And when you see that and you hear it, there's a big sound effect too. It's pretty loud, actually. But when you hear that, it means you've accomplished that. But what it does is that it fills up your bar just a little bit. It's not much. It is not very much at all, admittedly. But when you're taking out multiple enemies around you, like 3 or 5 different enemies, that is gradually going to build up more. Hence, now you've got more meter to work with. So I think that's a really good inclusion to this game. The new updated homing attack, I think that's really cool how you can build meter off of that. Hell, you can actually, if you time it just right by homing onto a spring or something like that, it'll still build your meter then too. So I think that's really nice. There is some customization as far as like giving Sonic some aesthetic changes, like the color of his gloves or the color of his shoes, his aura that surrounds him, or the boost animation. You can change the boost animation to like a fire or ice or whatever, or you can change it to a dark theme, but it tends to make the whatever level you're playing. I saw this and it was really shocking. I had it equipped to that, and because I thought it looked really cool, but it made the frame rates kind of go down a little bit. Like the frame rate definitely did drop a little because of it. So I'm like, huh. I just switched it back to the default and I didn't have any of those problems. So I don't know. I mean, if you have the PS4 version or Xbox One or whatever, maybe it's probably not going to affect you in that version, but on the Switch, it definitely does. And that's kind of a shame. That's a little bit of a bummer. But the customization of this doesn't do anything. It doesn't make Sonic stronger or makes him faster or anything like that. It doesn't give him any extra abilities. It's all cosmetic. It's just for the sheer look, right? That's all it is. And a lot of people will probably get that confused until you dive into it, but I'm telling you right now, that's exactly what it is. It's just for, you know, visual look. It doesn't do anything for your character. Yeah. This last part that I really wanted to talk about, but actually before that, because I had mentioned the color wisp abilities, but there's actually a brand new one for this. They call it Jade, the Jade Wisp, but like when you use it, when you actually acquire it and you use it, you hear the word ghost, and I just think that's really cool. It almost looks similar to the hover wisp ability, but this allows you to pass through certain walls, or like if you're going underground or above or something like that, it allows you to pass through certain points, and it makes it a lot easier to get red star rings. So I really like that. I thought that was really cool. Oh, what's this? What's this? What is this? Ghost? Oh, nice. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, that is really cool. I like that. But the one thing I want to get into now, which was probably one of my favorite things about this game, I really wish there was more of this as opposed to it just being one per world. And that's the Rival Rush, where basically you race up against Metal Sonic. And that's really cool. It's really tough actually. There was a couple of them that gave me a hard time. Others I got through pretty easily. And then there was just one stage that I did not like. It was one of the stages in Aquarium Park where I can't remember, was it stage, I think it was Act 3 is what it was, but it's the one that's very platform heavy. Like, because you basically you start off on one side and then you basically do like a lap. It wasn't the greatest. I was forced to use my boost a lot, and I got very lucky with it. You'll see that, but that was the one stage I did not like it. It's like, why couldn't you put it in like the first stage or whatever? And that was the thing. Not all stages were Act 1. There was some, you know, there was like Act 2 or 3 or something. So I'm like, why couldn't you just make it all like the main stages or something? Maybe we could have Metal Sonic as part, like, for every stage. Maybe that would have been a little too much, but at least put it for Act 1 only, because it was kind of all over the place. When I got to different worlds, I could see that. I'm like, why is it not in why is it over here is Act 2, and then you got Act 3, and then, oh, here's another Act 1, and I'm just like, it made no sense. But all in all, it was still really fun. I enjoyed that. That was a really fun part of the game. I wish they could have added a little bit more to that. There's also something where there's different character icons that you can kind of change, and this is what really bugs me about what Sega does with a lot of their games. Now it's starting to bleed into this type of game, you know, a Sonic game. But you see this typically for like the Sonic racing games, or the Sega All-Stars Racing, the Sega All-Stars Tennis game that came out years ago. Games like that, they would always kind of tease you and let you know, be like, yeah, there's this thing that we do have, and they acknowledge it through like a stage or a character you can play in those games. You know, and it's just, and most people wouldn't know this stuff unless you grew up with it. So you've got characters from like the Phantasy Star games, Burning Rangers, the Clockwork Knight series. I forget the main character's name, but from the two Clockwork Knight games that were on the Sega Saturn, his character icon is in this game too. And it's just the other Dreamcast games, they always tease you with this. It's like a slap in the face, man. Like, seriously. Like, and I'm saying we as in people around my age, we all know that they have tons and tons of characters from whatever games in their past, in their Sega Vault, that they're just refusing to bring out and come up with something new, or even give us, you know, a port of those older games from the Saturn, the Genesis, or the Dreamcast or something like that. Like, it's just, it kind of got me a little upset. I'm not gonna lie. Wait, who are these characters? Are they from like Phantasy Star or something? That's kind of what I'm thinking. Phantasy Star. I actually almost for half a second thought Burning Rangers, but I was like, wait, what? I think they're from Phantasy Star, like the originals. Oh, Panzer Dragoon Orta. Look at that. Panzer Dragoon 2. Jet Grind Radio. Look at that. Crazy Taxi. Shenmue. Clockwork Knight. Wow. Rent-A-Hero. Shining Force. Skies of Arcadia. Alex Kidd. Knights. There we go. Oh, Christmas Nights. But this one here, Clockwork Knight. When was the last time we ever saw anything Clockwork Knight related? When was the last time we ever saw anything like that? Sega, get on that. Like, bring us the Saturn exclusives that you had. Like, I'm not talking about the third-party stuff or anything like that. Just all of your exclusives. Clockwork Knight was there. Astal was there. Your classic arcade games, Virtual Fighter 2, Virtual Cop, Daytona. I'm actually surprised Virtual Cop never made it to the Wii. Like, that one blows my mind to this day. You know, you got Knights, you got all kinds of IPs. The Shining Force games. I like this Clockwork Knight thing here. This is really cool. I'm not going to get it just yet, but damn, that is really cool. So, aside from all of that, this is a fun title. I've always enjoyed Sonic Colors, and again, for me, I've had multiple ways of playing it via emulation, and then playing it through generations via mod support. Now, whatever you choose to do, I mean, there are multiple ways to play this game. I still think, even though this is kind of, even though the Switch version is not the greatest compared to, say, the PS4 or Xbox versions, it's still good for what it is and for that console. And for me, the best part is that now I can take Sonic Colors on the go. That's really cool. I can play this if I'm, you know, over at my family's and, you know, I want to kind of show it off over there, if I'm at a friend's house, or if maybe I'm at work or something, I'm taking a break or something, but like I can now take this anywhere, and I think this is so cool. So I really hope that I really do hope that this sells very well, specifically on the Switch, right? Because even the PlayStation and Xbox versions, like, I do hope it sells really well, because I would love to see Sonic Unleashed brought back in this same way, with all the DLC, everything, because that was a very good game, despite the werehog bullshit and the night stages that you play as that version of Sonic. It's like, look, you can play it through that once or twice and then just be done with it, but it's all about the day stages, and that's just my little hope that we can see something like that, because it deserves to be brought back in a meaningful way. I'm telling you right now, you can play it on Xbox One X because it's part of the backwards compatibility program. You can get up to 4K visuals. Now just think if they brought that onto the current consoles. Hell, even if they were able to do it just like they did on the Switch, you know, even if it's at 30 frames locked, that's fine. I would love that. So Sega, if you are listening, please keep an eye on those numbers, and if it does well, give us Sonic Unleashed, because we need this. And to take that around portably, holy shit, that would be amazing. Even if you have played this game, this is still a phenomenal game, because it always looked kind of, you know, muddied down and just whatever on the original Wii. And it just, you knew there was something great under there in terms of visual look. And the game itself is still a lot of fun. I highly recommend this. I still think a $30 price tag would have been better than a $40, but all in all, I say definitely pick this one up. So that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little breakdown of this game. It wasn't going to be like a thorough review. I was kind of deciding what I wanted to do with it. I just thought it would just be fun to, you know, kind of, you know, break it down just a little bit here and there. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found it helpful. Make sure to sub to the channel if you haven't. Like the video. Definitely does help me out a little bit. So again, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.